Hi, everyone, and welcome to Café IBTTA. I'm Pat Jones. My guest today is Maria Moreno. Maria is the Technical and International Affairs Director at SEOPAN, the Spanish Association of Infrastructure Contractors and Concessionaires. She holds a master's degree in civil engineering from the Polytechnic University of Madrid in Spain. She's also a member of the board of directors of IBTTA and the Spanish representative at the EIC, the Association of European International Contractors, among others. Maria, welcome to Café IBTTA. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Pat. It's great to be here today with all of you.
Well, this is Café IBTTA, where we drink coffee or tea or your favorite beverage, and we talk about things that are interesting, relevant, uplifting, and fun. And as we begin, I want to remind everybody that this is awards season at IBTTA. We have 3 awards programs. The first one is the Toll Excellence Awards. This is a great way for your organization to be recognized by the international tolling industry. There are 6 categories with awards for both public and private sector organizations, and the submission deadline is May 24th. Our second group of awards is for the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Award. This is a brand new award this year, established by the Task Force on Diversity, Social, and Racial Inclusion. And it recognizes IBTTA member organizations that make a significant contribution to advance racial justice, equity, inclusion, and meaningful opportunities in society. And then last but not least, the Leadership Academy Alumni Association Alum of the Year Award is also new. This award recognizes a leader who has demonstrated and made significant commitments to tolling and the transportation industry after graduating from the IBTTA Leadership Academy. I should have mentioned the submission deadline for the Diversity Award is June 24, and for the Leadership Academy Alumni, it's June 18th. So please apply for those awards. We're looking to have many, many submissions, and we want to recognize your great contributions to our industry. Well, we are taking your questions, and we want to get started right away using the chat function and selecting the option All Panelists and Attendees. Please type a word or phrase that describes your thoughts or feelings about Spain. All right, our guest is from Spain, so please tell us about your thoughts and feelings about Spain. All right, the responses are coming in. Wonderful tapas and wine. Rioja, vacation, best family vacation. I want to visit. Welcoming country. Soccer, olives. All right. Vibrant, Barcelona football team.
Madrid.
Yes, indeed. All right, living there. All right, Eduardo, very good. The best place on earth. Best capital city, Madrid.
Wow.
Wow, lots of good responses here.
Wow, it's overwhelming, Pat.
Huh?
It's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. I think the people who are watching today really love your country, Maria. So
yes.
Since we're talking about Spain, Maria, this is the country where you live and work and raise your children. Tell us something about your country. Help indoctrinate us to Spain.
Great, Pat. It's good to know that many of you know so much about my country. It's beautiful, it's true, and it's as you know, Spain is the second most visited country in the world after France, after our neighboring country France. So I know that many of you know a lot of Spain, of its vibrant cities like Madrid, Barcelona, Seville, Granada. But there are also some other things that I'm sure you know, and people that is from my country and that you have come across with. There are, for example, Fernando Alonso. You have also famous chefs like Ferran Adrià and José Andrés. famous doctor from the hospital Mount Sinai, Pau Gasol and Marc Gasol, both brothers playing on the NBA. And there are also some others like, oh, Rafa Nadal. Yeah.
He's my favorite. One of my favorite tennis players in the whole world, Rafa.
Yeah, he's a very humble guy. Sara Baras is a dancer, incredible dancer. Well, those are some of them, but you also know Antonio Banderas, Penelope Cruz, just to mention some of them, no? Yeah, there are some other interesting inventions, like coming from Spain, like Chupa Chups, and that is the brand, the famous brand of lollipops. But also the submarine was invented by a Spanish guy. The epidural anesthesia is also Spanish. And also, what else? The autogiro, which was like a kind of a small helicopter, was invented also by Juan de la Cierva. Yeah, so many things that are originally Spanish, and you know very well. But I would like also to add something, because those of you that are living in the States have a daily contact with Spain in some way. And for example, when those of you that are in Virginia, when you drive through the Elizabeth River tunnels, well, you may know that they are operated by Abertis, and also the Pocahontas Parkway is managed by Global Via. But for those of you that take the New York subway, the New York subways have been built partially by OHL. And also, for example, in California, those of you that have gone to a game in the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, it has been built by ACS, which is also building a package of the high-speed rail in California. Like Ferrovial is working in another high-speed rail package. I don't know, there are lots of things that you daily come across with and put you in contact with Spain. Also in Texas with the LBJ Express, the North Tarrant Express, many examples from Spain in your country, and of course all over the world there are slight Spanish details.
So when I think of Spain, I also think of explorers, you know, from the 14, 15, 1600s, men and perhaps some women who got on big ships and were explorers. So I think what I'm hearing from you, Maria, is that even if you've never been to Spain, you've been touched by Spain through the works of many of the Spanish companies in transportation and other industries throughout the country. It's great to know that we're touched and embraced by the Spanish.
Yeah, we are closer than what we thought, no? And it's nice sometimes to know that.
Yeah, yeah. So Maria, you've come with a beautiful sign behind you. I think you're in your conference room at SEOPAN. Tell us a little bit about your career and how you found yourself at SEOPAN.
Well, my career, I studied, as you mentioned, civil engineering, and I spent a year in Florence studying an exchange program, an Erasmus, what is an exchange program there. And when I came back, I had my last year of university here, and it's funny because after my last year, I went on a trip with some friends, and I received a call from SEOPAN, and they wanted to interview me to give me to present a job offer. And then I started working with them just after finishing my studies, and I started in a in a department that was more technical, more we made some statistics, we studied always related to construction, maybe technical issues related to construction. And then I came to the international department with my former boss, who got retired a few years ago, like I think it was 6 years ago, more or less. And then when she got retired, it was my opportunity to get the department and start this new international life and meet all of you. And recently, last year, and I also got one of my new roles, that is the direction of the technical department, and now I have the opportunity to explore both worlds that are my passion, the technical things and also the international affairs. So I feel very grateful for these opportunities.
That's great. Maria, tell us a little bit more about SEOPAN. You know, I think of SEOPAN as one of the group members of IBTTA that has, operators of toll facilities in Spain, but it's different from some of our other group members like ASFA and ISCAT. You have a little bit more, a broader range of members. Tell us about that. Yes,
you're right, but SEOPAN is different from the rest. We originally were an association for construction companies, for contractors, but in 2014 we merged with AZETA, that you may know very well, because AZETA was a former member of IBTTA, and we merged and we put together on the strength of both organizations to defend the interests of our member companies. So SEOPAN consists of 40 companies related to construction, concessions, and water technology. So they are, I would say, the biggest Spanish companies on those fields, and they have a total turnover of 73 billion euros, and they are present in 82 countries, more or less, 82, 85, it depends on the year. But yeah, and you know, it's not only concessions or only construction, is a mix of all of them, and we are divided in different committees here, and each one has its group of companies related to construction or to concessions, and we have to work with the Spanish projects or assets, but also with their international activities. So it's a very a very complex but interesting also work.
Yeah, I'm sure it makes it very interesting, because you have not only the concessionaire aspect of it, but the construction company aspect, which gives a little bit more texture to the organization.
Yes, they are. Some of them are big groups that have a company that is a construction company, but then they have also an energy company, a concessionaire, and they have a water technology company. So they are big groups with different legs and different businesses.
I was just thinking, we've been talking about IBTTA's strategic plan and strategic direction, and the board of directors met a couple of weeks ago to talk about that. And one of the issues is the idea of expanding the tent, or bringing in new kinds of organizations. And SEOPAN is really on the edge of that. You aren't just tolling; you are also other types of construction and concessionaire companies.
Yes, and it was 2014, and it was after or in the middle of the previous financial crisis. So we had to reinvent in some way our organizations in Spain, and we faced similar challenges, and we were also went into a deep strategy planification. Now we had to change our mind, and I think it was a very good decision that the companies made, and the result is true that it's not easy, because sometimes things get mixed and there are interests that are different, but that enriches also our work, and that's the part I like. And maybe but also I would say that IBTTA is also a mix of businesses and of different companies. You have the public and the private sector together with the yeah, so yeah, the models are different, but I don't know.
You mentioned ACETA as being the association for the concessionaires that became part of SEOPAN, and I want to acknowledge a couple of people associated with ACETA. Antonio Diez de Rivera, who was the president of ACETA, also served on the board of IBTTA and was international vice president for a couple of years. And we had a Spanish president not long ago. Santiago Corral in 2006 was president of IBTTA. So good representation and leadership of our industry coming from SEOPAN and its predecessor or its other organization, ACETA.
We still have some of my colleagues here at the office came with ACETA with this merge, and you know them very well, and they were working with Antonio, and so yeah, we are the same thing, but we knew it in some way.
We are taking your questions. Our guest today is Maria Moreno. She's the Technical and International Affairs Director at SEOPAN. And please put your questions in the chat function using all panelists and attendees. And here we go. Here's a question from Rush Wicks. Thank you very much. He asks, how large is the network of toll roads managed by SEOPAN?
How large?
How long?
Yeah, how long? Nowadays it's around 2,000 kilometers. It used to be 3,000, but some contracts got to the end of the contract, and they are not toll roads anymore. But I'm sure you have heard news. And they say, and the government is planning to implement a tolling plan. So they are thinking of tolling the whole high capacity road network in Spain.
Right.
So,
yeah, that relates to Alain Estio has a question. What is the future of tolling in Spain? Maybe you could say a little bit more, Maria. I was going to mention an article from the Catalan News. The headline says, Spain plans to turn highways into toll roads in 2024. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that, Pat. Yeah, I first would like to start with Halifax 2019.
Yes.
You remember?
Yes.
I remember the delicious lobster and the music. We were able to listen there, and I had the opportunity that annual meeting. I had the opportunity to participate in the worldwide showcase, and my speech was exactly what's going on nowadays in Spain. I called it "It's now or never." I remember, and I used a Spanish saying that goes "No hay mal que por bien no venga," and it says more or less. Turn a negative into a positive. So in these difficult situations, things are turning into positive, and it seems that the government has listened to our requests, and we have been asking for this over the last 15 years, I think, more or less 15. And the thing is that Spain has presented the recovery plan to the European Union, which is basically there are going to be some funds that are going to come to Spain to invest and to recover from the crisis created by the pandemic. And one of those measures or tools that the Spanish government is going to implement is this tolling. They think that they are going to toll the full high capacity roads in Spain by 2024. So it's now or never.
I think there's a song there somewhere, huh? It's now or never. Huh?
Yeah, I think it's Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi, yeah. Also Elvis Presley, maybe some others as well. So Eduardo has a question, and it relates to modeling after the Portuguese and French, in which they offer other services like towing and ambulances. And he's suggesting if people get more complimentary services, they'll be more willing to pay a toll fee instead of feeling that they're paying and getting nothing. What would you like to say about that, Maria? Any thoughts on that?
Well, actually, there are lots of discussions around this. Spanish population is not very keen on. I think they have not been explained very well what it means. That paying for the use of the road sounds strange because we take it for granted. It's free and that's all. And we have paid for the building of these roads. Why should we pay again? No, and we pay our so it's difficult, but it has its advantages. And why you pay for the railway, you pay a ticket, and for the airplane you pay a ticket,
right?
And you don't have to pay for the road, and you are using it. So, and additionally, here in Europe, the rest of the countries, many of them have, if not the total of the network with tolls, a high volume. And here we have only the 12% of the network is toll roads. So if you are driving all over Europe, and you are paying in France, in Germany, in Italy, in Portugal, and you come to Spain, and then it's free. So it makes no sense, no?
Yeah. It's really a big job, I think, all over the world to educate people about the value that toll roads provide, that they're paying for a premium service, and it isn't free. There are no free roads. That's been one of our sayings for a long time. And I also want to mention, I was talking about Spanish presidents, and we had another Spanish president in 2012, Jordi Graels. And, Jordi, of course, is from Spain, but when he was president of IBTTA, he was here in Washington, D.C., working for Abertis, and he had an office just down the street from IBTTA. He seemed almost like an American to me. So Jordi, also from Spain. So Maria, you are an engineer, and I feel like there is a family connection to engineering. Tell me how you became interested in engineering.
Yes, Pat. Well, my brother Diego, one of my brothers, studied civil engineering, and I remember I was a child. I was around 10 or 12 years old when he had to prepare his final master's project, which is basically a design and construction project. And at that time, we didn't have AutoCAD or digital tools to prepare the projects. So I was helping him. I remember helping him with copy-paste things, with the basics, no? And it was, for me, it was interesting to see how he was working on something that was going to be somewhere forever. He was preparing a dam, and that was the case. It was a dam. And I thought, wow, it would be great to create something and to go there and say, hey, I contributed to the creation of such a wonderful thing. And since then, I decided to study civil engineering and start my career.
That's great. That's great. My dad was a civil engineer, and he always used to say that civil engineering was the most important, because if you wanted to get into aerospace engineering and launch rockets, that's all good, well and good, but you need to have a solid foundation first. You know, that's why you need the civil engineers.
He was right.
He was right. He was right. So Maria, in addition to working and becoming an engineer, you also like to travel. And I think a couple of your favorite cities are Rome and Florence, and you have some favorite sites, some favorite architectural structures there. Tell us about that.
Yes, yes. Well, Rome is a huge and incredible city, and the thing I like the most there is the Pantheon. And I think it's because of my engineering background. I think that the ancient Rome created this structure without the knowledge we have today, and it's still there today. And it's amazing. For me, it's amazing. But I have to admit, I don't know if Emma is today with us, but I have to admit that Florence is my favorite city. And yeah, as I mentioned before, I was living there. I lived there a year, and it's a very, very beautiful city. And I would recommend all of you to go there. After coming to Spain, go to Florence.
I see Manuela Stocchi is on, and she will probably love to hear that Florence is your favorite city. Although I think she lives in Rome, she might think Rome is the favorite city. So I often ask at this point, there's a lot of change happening with the global financial crisis back in 2008, 2009. We had a tremendous churning and upturn and lots of change, and we also have change now with the pandemic. Tell us about your experiences with the global financial crisis and how that relates to the current pandemic.
Yeah, both moments have been difficult times, hard times, and very challenging. But I think engineers always take the problems and split them in smaller projects, and I do the same with changes and problems. I like to split them and take them one by one. I consider myself a very adaptable and resilient person, so we have to overcome it in the best way possible. I remember during the lockdown, I was not working. I have just had my Maria, my last baby, and I had to stay at home 24 hours with the baby and with the two other kids, with homeschooling, and my husband also working at home. So it was hard, but we have also to turn negative into positive, as we said before, no? And it was also a great opportunity to be all together, because I used to travel a lot. I usually have a lot of travels and have to be at the office for all over during the whole day. And these times have brought these great things, no? And enjoy small things, staying at home with the family, and not take for granted things that we used to, like meeting friends and traveling and enjoying, I don't know, doing exercise. So things that we all take for granted, but they are not. So these difficult and challenging times has this positive phase that I like.
I love that notion of the engineer taking bigger problems and breaking them down to smaller pieces, and also the notion of celebrating the small things. The little things are great joys.
Yeah, and you know, this small things matter, I think was kind of a slogan in one of the IBTTA meetings. I remember, I don't know if it was in Baltimore or, and I remember all of us were saying that small things matter, and we have just only to realize that they are there and to make them important also.
Absolutely. Maria, I'm going to make a couple of brief announcements and then I'll come back to you for some final words of wisdom. So don't forget to complete the survey that you'll receive at the end of today's program. Next week, our guest on Café IBTTA is Joe Avercamp, Vice President Parsons. He was the co-chief meeting organizer of last week's Technology Summit. We have a bunch of events coming up. May 25th, we have a webinar called Addressing All Customers Respectfully. June 10th is the book club. So you want to talk about race by Ijoma Oluo. And we have the annual meeting coming up in October and the Maintenance and Roadway Operations Workshop coming up in November. Please check the IBTTA website for information about all of our upcoming meetings. And don't forget to complete the survey at the end of today's program. Well, Maria, it's been great to have you here. What final words of wisdom do you have before we sign off?
Well, Pat, I have a Canadian friend, and he plays hockey, and he always says, keep your stick on the ice. So be ready for anything that may arise and get the opportunities. And of course, visit Spain.
All right, visit Spain and keep your stick on the ice. I love it.
Yeah.
Maria,
and see you on the road.
Thank you so much for being part of Café IBTTA. It's been a privilege. And to all our members, be safe, keep in touch, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks, Maria. Thanks, everybody.
Adiós.
Adiós.
Gracias.